But what is the gospel trying to get at? Because it kind of sounds like he's scamming his master out, right? I mean, if someone owed you $1,000 and they came to you and said, "Oh, our friend said I only owe you like 100, so here's 100," you'd probably be like, "What? What the heck? This isn't what I gave you." But back then, what was more important to the master was not his money, but his reputation. That was way more important than any money he had. And so what this steward did as a last ditch effort was to raise the reputation of his master amongst the people. Now all the people aren't cheering on the servant who gave them the deal because the servant is speaking on behalf of the master. And so they praise the master for his generosity, even though most likely he was like, well, yeah, well, you're welcome. You don't probably know it, like, what's going on? It's in those small matters, right? That small matter, that gesture that the servant did. Sure, there was an ulterior motive. Maybe these people will take me in when I'm homeless. But he didn't do something good that resulted in something worse. He didn't get back at his master, as many people would read into this. Right? He didn't get revenge. Right? And so it leads us to think, are we being honest in the matters and responsibilities that are entrusted to us? And if we fail in those matters, do we take the responsibility for it? This is the servant taking responsibility. All right, I'm going to lift up the reputation of my master. But how many times have something gone wrong, either with an assignment or in the workplace, where it's not like, I'm sorry, I will redo this. I made the mistake. Does that sound familiar? Let me redo this. I'll be happy to take a letter grade off. Yeah, I understand that. Does that sound like many of you? Or does it sound like, what I get this? What is this grade for? What, I did all this work. Oh, yeah, I did that wrong. But that's fine. Can I still get the A? I mean, I think I deserve an A. I worked for all these hours on it. Or does that kind of sound more your cup of tea? I don't know. But many young people can go on the defense first. Well, I didn't do that. It was them over there. That group over there, they did it. Or I would have got my homework in on time, but I couldn't access the online portal and I clicked on the wrong box and I thought it was this day, but I guess it's this day now. So I thought it was the week later though. I know what that I know what that feels like. But there's something about the character, the integrity of the person when you own up to things. When you say, "Yes, this is my fault. I will take care of it. I will take responsibility for the effects that come with that." And being a student that in that area, that's could be hard at times, but mainly it's pretty easy. An assignment here and there. When you get into the workforce and you become a manager or you move up the ladder of whatever work environment you're in, it's different. Where your mistake or your thing may be your fault, but the manager will take the fall for you because that's what they do. And that can sound daunting when your actions are responsible for another. But think about it. Our actions, the way that we live our life, the choices we make, no matter the repercussions they sow, someone has already taken up the responsibility of our eternity. And that's Jesus. Jesus is the master here. And so we are called through our actions, taking responsibility for them, to really bring the gospel to others without our words, by taking responsibility for what we know, what we don't know in the faith, for how we conduct ourselves with our professors, staff, faculty, our coworkers, bosses, parents, grandparents, friends, spouses, children. That last one was not for the college students. But responsibility is tough, and it is rare. It is rare, especially amongst your age group. That one was for the college students. Rare to take up responsibility. But without responsibility, there's no freedom, no love. Because without taking responsibility, everything gets pinned on somebody else, even if it is meant to. But not every time will it be somebody else taking the fall for us. But right, as young people, there's like an inclination to do that. And growing out of that is maturity. And that maturity is what brings about deeper faith, a deeper sense of prayer, a deeper sense of knowledge of what the scripture has for you, for your neighbor. Those who don't take responsibility, they don't mature. And what do we call them? Adult children, right? Those are the adults that for some reason still act as if they're very young with nothing to lose. They usually don't get far in life. And by far, I mean a way that they can fully provide for themselves, provide for others. And so, if anything, college is meant to teach you, sure, a subject that will get you an entry-level job somewhere, but it's also meant to teach you responsibility in what's been entrusted to you, which is your own education, the choices on the direction of your life. And it's daunting, but that sense of anxiety and that sense of this is such a big deal. What am I going to do with my life? Why do I got to figure it out now? Because whether you like it or not, time moves forward. With or without your decisions, the aging moves forward. With or without your decisions, death comes for you. With or without your decisions. College is also meant to help you grow in handling tough situations and being able to make decisions in those tough situations. Because life comes whether you like it or not. And life is good and glorious and wonderful at many times. But life is also difficult. It can be dark. It can be devastating. It can be nothing of what you ever dreamed of it to be, but it could also be everything. I know, it's a weird paradox, but it starts little by little. What Pope Francis calls the law of gradualness, right? To become a saint, it begins gradually over a long period of time. To become a true man of faith, a true woman of faith, it takes a sense of gradualness over a long period of time. But it's a weird place in life. And it's the only time in your life where it's going to be kind of weird like this, right? I mean, I don't expect you to be in your 40s and rooming with other 40-year-olds. And so it is the small things now, meeting deadlines, asking for extensions if needed, but only to learn what happened to meet that deadline next time. There's so many possibilities, but walking into the unknown, walking into the sense of taking responsibility for actions, for choices, it begins now. Your life is already begun, right? Many have the habit of like, when my life starts, right? Oh, when I get my degree and get the job, that's when life starts. Oh, your life's already started. You're well like 18, 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, however old you guys, you're already in it so many years. But yet now the parents are no longer there next to you, talking for you, making decisions. So the college years are the time where you're the small steward. And graduation's right around the corner, right? What is graduation? But yet this steward being like, I'm no longer going to be the steward. What am I going to do? Yeah, one day you're no longer going to be a student. What are you going to do? And that question of what am I going to do? Does it bring up anxiety? Good. Bring it. Bring the anxiety. Learn to live with it, to sit with it, to be comfortable with it. Because then when it comes again, it may be a much more drastic decision to make. And so this week, spend a few moments thinking about moments where you have a habit of pointing the finger somewhere else, or the blame to something else, some deadline, some, miscommunication, right? Because you know what I always say, the A is not going to matter, but how you conduct yourself in a classroom, in your workplace, here, that's going to matter. And the choices you make, they matter.